Okay, I'm about done with my rating of my Galaxy Pad. I'll tell you. Let me go over the things that there's basically a ton of things that I like about it. It is not as not as user friendly as the iPad is, and obviously it's not as large as the iPad is. If you guys can see that right there, um, so that's probably the biggest downsides. The downsides of it is it's not as large. The one frustration is the touchpad is very it's not as smooth and as accurate as the iPad is, but it's not unbearable. The other thing is that the one thing that I was disappointed about is the battery life. It Apple products just seem to have a far superior battery life. The other thing, I've been using it for email. I haven't used a lot of apps. I've used some apps in it. I haven't used a lot of apps. I actually wrote some contracts in it, web-based stuff, and it worked fine. The emailing, one of the good things about it is it never lost. I never had a service problem. I actually, one of the pluses about it is I actually one time I tethered my Apple phone when I was out of service to use some apps on my Apple. I tethered it from the service from this. This is not a telephone though. Okay, so I mean it's service issues. It is this is Verizon. This isn't Sprint or AT&T. I've got this on Verizon, and it had service. It worked fine. I had no problems with that. So I guess my only issues were the battery. It's a little smaller. The touchscreen doesn't work as smooth. But like I said, it's not unbearable. So I mean, it didn't give really a bad rating. The only thing for me is I guess I'm lazy, so I like a device that I don't have to constantly keep charged. And this thing, I had to keep constantly charging it in order to really use it a lot. I noticed that like I'll leave my Just give you an example. I'll leave my iPad. It'll virtually last the battery for hours. If I leave it for 3 or 4 days, I'll come back and the battery will still be charged. For whatever reason, this thing I leave it on, and it could be a power mode setting that I have that I don't have turned on or something like that. And I noticed that the battery it'd be frustrating because I'd go to have it for a client to show them something, and I'd grab it off the dash and it would be dead, and so I couldn't use it, and that was frustrating. But like I said, that could be something, a function that is my fault for not having on a power saving feature or something like that, and maybe it's constantly drawing the power. You know, when I say that at the same time it's not as large, this is great. I can't tell you how many times. If you're a woman, this thing fits right in your purse. It doesn't fit in your pocket; it's still a little bit too big. But I mean, in the car, it was easily concealed versus what the iPad is. You have to usually put it in the trunk because it's too large and cumbersome to fit in the console. So that can be a plus or a negative. But for the most part, I can give the Galaxy Pad. Let's just put it this way: I'm not going to get rid of it. One of the horrible things about it, though, that I will tell you is that I do have the YouTube account where we can upload videos, directly to YouTube. As a matter of fact, I can go there right now and then I can show you how this feature. It's a cool feature, and I use this feature from the I use this feature from uh, the iPhone and the iPad, and basically we're just right now we're going to wind up downloading it, and you can see it's got a little I don't know what you call it, a flash, but a light. And I'm going to go ahead and hit it off and record that, and then obviously automatically, it asks if you want to save the video, and then it just, you drive it right, you drive it right up to YouTube right from the device. So you're making instant videos. The bad thing about these videos is that they're horrible. The quality of them were just atrocious, and they're really not what I consider to be usable in a client situation. If you're buying it for fun or something like that, that's a different story. But there's no way I would use this to show clients these types of videos that we shot with them. We did use it for a couple, and we had to turn to another device to show the videos to actually illustrate the point we were trying to make. Because the videos on that device that were actually shot behind it was an HD, another device that was HD. We shot simultaneously, so we made sure we had the video. We had to use that device to show the customer in order to illustrate what we were trying to get across to them. So in that respect, that's my downsides to the Galaxy Pad. But all in all, I would rate it on a scale of 1 to 10. If you were to say the iPad was a 10, I would say the Galaxy is probably about a 7.5. I'm anxious for HP's versions to come out and get better because I think that HP understands the technology. They're coming out with the phone, mobile device printers and things like that, which are really cool. And I think that uh, you know I think that HP is going to come out with something that's going to be close to the iPad at a more of a discounted rate. Some of you guys that are talking about waiting to buy these things, man, don't wait to buy them. If you use these devices for sales, whether you pay $100 or $500 for them, I can assure you that if you use them in sales, they're going to pay for themselves. There is no doubt in my mind on that. They're going to pay for it in time savings. I like this one here. I do enjoy this one. This device, it's small enough, not large enough to be carrying around, but not as small as this to read my emails. I guess maybe I'm spoiled or whatever the case may be, but that's probably the only reason I'm keeping this device is that it's always in my console, and it's not as cumbersome and as clumsy as the iPad, but it's also not as small in my old age to see and actually manipulate emails. It's large enough for me to do that. Also, obviously the surfing and stuff like that, but it's great. That's my Galaxy Pad, I guess, review, and hope you guys get it. If you do get it, well, I don't think it's going to matter whether it's Verizon or Sprint or even AT&T. I know they all carry it. Again, AT&T's is not going to have an issue with service because AT&T usually with data service doesn't have an issue either. So I think wherever you get the Galaxy Pad, I think you're going to be okay with it. And one of the great features is that tethering feature. Tethers 5 mobile devices. So, they don't have to be mobile devices. You could tether your computers in your office with it, which is a very cool feature. One of the features that I love to use. You can do it with your Apple phone, but it's a different app and it's a different type of platform, and it works. I will give Verizon the 2 thumbs up on the speed of the tethering is a lot better than what I can do off of my Apple phone. So that's a huge plus. Everybody knows that Apple's restricting these devices for the bandwidth and whatnot. So that's one of the problems that AT&T's dealing with right now. Where at Verizon, they're starting you at a decent amount, and then you're paying extra if you want more. Whereas Apple's restricting you, and I'm not even positive that Apple, you have an option even to purchase more. It doesn't sound right. Well, it's actually not Apple, but AT&T, and I think you can, but for the most part, when you're going to need it, you're not going to sit there and go, okay, I need to purchase some right away. Whereas I believe that on this Verizon one, if you use more, you just wind up being charged more, which I don't mind paying. I think they said it was like a $10 or something for another gig or something like that. So it really, to me, really is not an issue because I know that you're not going to use a ton of gigs out there in the field if you use it absorbently. I mean, it's not gonna be that huge of a difference on your bill. Guys, have a great time. Glad I could give you this review.